Hello everybody, my name is Bryce, aka DubsNotSubs, and in today's video, we're going to be going over Children of the Whales. We're going to be talking about a section in volume 14 towards the beginning of the chapter, so there will be somewhat of spoilers, not really, but we'll get into that. This is actually going to be a two-part series, because there is another section in here that I actually want to talk about too, and I thought it'd be better if I divide the subjects up so it's not just to be so confusing, so stay tuned for part 2, but without further ado, let's get right into this video.
And now, a dramatic reading of events.
Mother, do you think people can change?
Who are you talking about?
No one in particular.
If you mean yourself, you haven't changed at all since you were very little.
Really? I've been myself this whole time?
Yes.
To me. Mother, you've changed.
Because of the young ones of this island tried to change their fate, and actually managed to do so, if only to a small degree. There isn't anything convenient as hope on this island, but I should not have denied you or set my mind against you. That's why I can say this to you now. If you want to change, then of course I think people can change. But if you don't want to, then I think it isn't easy for people to change. It's all just sincere platitudes anyway.
You're so twisted. That made Kikujin and me strangely happy. We children always want to be accepted into the world of grown-ups, and the same was probably true for Swan.
It's okay to be a massive contradiction, Swan. You can change by remaining unchanged. Front and back, light and shadow, near and far, one in an infinite scattering. They all intermingle, turn upside down, but still, they just flow. The world doesn't ever change, and yet it changes constantly. You should take on a multitude of choices, all the decisions, all the chaos, and walk onto the sand.
So that's what we'll be covering today. What it's like to change, if someone can change, and what really is change. Because as human beings, none of us are perfect. I'm not perfect, you're not perfect, nobody is. Let's all face the facts, it's true. There's nothing we can do about it except try to go and become the best person that we can be. And the reason I wanted to cover this is just something that really, I don't know, it just really spoke to me in a sense because I've always been wanting change, whether it's physically or mentally. It always seems like I feel there's a better part of me that I can reach at a certain point. So change has always been a big part of my life, or something that I've strived to do to reach a better version of me. And I think a lot of people deal with too, because what does it really mean to change? Like, obviously you can change your personality or what it is, but is there a right change? Is the right change the right change? Like, is becoming that better person the best for that scenario you're in right now? Because you can't really always tell what we are doing and what the right decision is until after you've made the decision. You can assume or whatever, but changing overall is just one of those things that is a scary leap. Because to change, you must first admit that you have a problem with yourself. It's like you're denying your previous self that you're wrong. And I think that's a big problem with us as people, or me personally, I can speak about, that saying you're wrong or admitting that you have a problem is the first step to recovery, but you have to admit that step to recovery to change. But you also have to want to change, because let's be honest, I'm addicted to my phone. I think most people in America at this day and age, or in a first world country, are. And it's just like, I know I am, but I'm not going to do anything to fix it, because I really don't feel like I have a problem doing it. But some people think that being on their phone is a problem. I do think it's a problem, but I'm not doing anything actively to fix it. I always think, like, man, I should probably get on my phone less or whatever and do whatever. But at this point, you're so used to it, and that whole problem of trying, what else are you gonna do? What else are you gonna do with your time when you lose this object that you spend most of your time with? Ooh, I don't know if you can hear that phone call. I'm gonna wait till it to go away. So yeah, wanting to change is the first step to recovery, or to actually change is to admit that you need to change. Changing doesn't always mean that you have a problem with yourself. Maybe it's just you just want to be that better yourself. Maybe you're too shy, which being shy isn't bad, but you want to be less shy. It's not a bad thing. It's just, are you kidding me again? So yeah, I'll just cover all that on that topic and move on, because I'm going to lose my train of thought if I keep having to pause like this. But the next thing I want to talk about is what Swan says, no, what his mom says to Swan, because in the story, that is Swan's mom, who is the leader of the Watchers on the island. He's kind of the defense type if you don't really know who he is. He's like the defender, like the knights or whatever. He's the leader of that. Actually, not anymore, I don't believe. Yeah, he's not anymore. Spoilers. Whoops. But yeah, so Swan's mom talks about how that she's always been the only true to him, or shown her true self to him. And I think that's also really important for us, and what we do in society is we put on our best face, be the best person that we can be, and there's only a certain number of people, very small, closest to you that you trust the most, that you allow to show yourself. There's this Japanese proverb I saw on iFunny once. Weird place to find it, but yeah, that's where I found it. It was that we all wear 3 masks as a society. We wear one that we show people that we don't know. We wear one that we share with people that are close with us. And then there's a third face that only we know, that we don't truly show to anybody. And I do kind of believe that. I think even when you're with your close friends, there are things that you do change about yourself. Or possibly. Not everybody does it. Obviously, it's on a person-to-person basis, and that's how we do. I don't really change myself in front of my friends, but I think at times, maybe for, like, say, if you change an opinion that you want, or, like, some opinions that you have, you don't say because you don't want to hurt feelings, or you don't want to like cause problems, and you just go with the flow on something that maybe you didn't want to go with. But that's just compromise, and that's how human nature works. You can't always get what you wanted, and it's selfish to think that you can. But having that person that you can truly be yourself around, and not have to worry about getting outed, or just like getting just resented and unwelcomed and kind of pushed away, is a really great feeling to know that you have somebody to have like that. And I think most people in their life have at least one person like that, you know, your best friend, your parents, grandparents, whoever, but I don't know what it would be like to not have that for me. I'm trying to think, because I've always had that growing up. There's at least somebody I can be true to myself around. And overall, I'm not really that fake. I don't really like being fake. It goes back to I'm kind of lazy, and it basically is like, if I'm fake, I have to put on this act, and I don't want to do all that work, which is, being lazy is probably, if I was talking about out of the 7 deadly sins, which one I am, I'm the sin of sloth. I'm the dude in Full Metal Alchemist who's so powerful, but just is too busy to want to sleep the whole time. Yeah, that's probably my biggest setback, and video making is one of those things that I'm actually passionate about, and that's one of the biggest reasons why I'm able to make it, is because I want to do it. And it's like one of those things where if I don't want to do it, then I probably won't do it, which isn't a good thing, and it's not something I'm proud of, but it's what happens, so there's not really much I can do about it. But yeah, I'm getting off track. Anyway, just basically having that person is really nice to have, and if you have that, we'll tell them, be like, thank you, sir. Thank you for allowing me to be me. Because, man, you don't come by many people who are true to themselves, or who allow you to be true to them and accept you despite your flaws. But anyway, next up, we're going to go on to the part where I believe, yeah, she talks about people being a ball of contradictions, which is life in general. We are all contradictions in a sense. And human nature in itself, I think, is kind of contradictory to how we think, because everyone thinks they're unique in a way, and it's true that we are unique, but at the same time we're also the same. It's an interesting topic to get into, because we're all human and we all come up with the same like chemical makeup, but the way we think is different, but we're not different to everybody. There are people who think the same of us, but I don't think anyone thinks the exact same of us. But who am I to say that that's 100% impossible, because I haven't met everybody in this world, so I can't prove that not everybody thinks the exact same way of me or acts like me. And then you have looks, that people look like each other. It's just like everyone has uniqueness and similarities at the same time, so that's why human nature, I believe, is a contradiction in itself. And change in itself is kind of a contradiction. Could be a contradiction, like what she says, not changing at all is still kind of change. It's kind of like in the song Free Will by Rush. If you choose not to make a choice, you still make a choice. So by choosing not to change, you've chosen to change yourself in zero way, which is weird to say that it is change, because you can't, something in a stable state isn't, like, if water's still, water's not moving, right? Or on a molecular structure is, you want to get technical, but it's not moving, it's always the same. But by not changing, you're also choosing not to change, which is in itself a change to not change. It's an interesting thought, and I do like that idea of, like, people maybe finally reach that point where they think they are the best person they can be, or they're at their peak of their life and they don't think there's anything they can change. But I feel like there's always things we can change about each other for the better. Like, we could always reach. There's always a higher level to reach. Like I said, nobody's perfect. I don't think anyone can attain perfectum. Like, everyone always has stuff to work on, even when they're at a time. But that's not to say that you should be unsatisfied with yourself. You should always, like, reach. You can reach a point of happiness where you're like, I'm not perfect, but I'm happy with where I'm at in my life, right? Because overall, I think I'm pretty happy with all stuff. There's stuff I want to change. There's stuff I want to look forward to. Goals I want to reach and things like that. But overall, I think personality-wise, I would say overall there's not too much I want to change. So there's some stuff I think goes into, without going too deep into it, maybe like my cockiness around people, or like putting on this facade of not caring. I think that my biggest problem with myself is I avoid situations of, like, real situations where, like, problems arise, or like I downplay a lot of situations, like, to not care, so I don't have to worry about it. Because if I just play it off like it's not a big deal, I don't think about it and I don't worry about it, and it also leads to a lot less stress in my life, if I'm being honest. Like, not worrying about a problem is a lot easier than worrying about it, but also at the same time, things don't get solved if you don't think about it and actually do something to fix it. And that's something that like I said, is a contradiction in myself, where I know, and my biggest phrase is, like, if you want something to do, you got to do it yourself. It's not my biggest phrase, but it's something I say all the time, and it's something I've learned through doing YouTube and going one time in high school trying to start a business. But I learned that very quickly, that if you want something done, you had to do it yourself, and thinking about a problem and talking about what to do only works so much. You have to actually do something active to fix that problem, for something to change. And yeah, I just wanted to talk about that today. I just really enjoy Children of the Whales. I really like how philosophical the story gets. There is that main overarching story that you can understand very easily, but there's times where it gets very philosophical and very, very, like, well thought and well written. I really love Abi Umeda. Umeba? Umeda. I was right the first time. I had to look down and check it. But yeah, I really like your story. I think she's absolutely fantastic as an artist. I love Children of the Whales. It was one of the first series I actually ever watched as anime. I watched the Netflix anime a long time ago, and season 1 came out, and then when I started collecting manga, I noticed, I was like, this is out. I guess I should get it. But yeah, if you guys haven't checked out Children of the Whales, I definitely recommend you checking out. It's a seinen, and it's an adventure manga about these people who are from the Children of the Whale. It's just kind of like this world of sand where there's no really water, and so I don't know how they get water, or I don't really think that's ever been actually explained. I think they talk about milk sometimes, but I don't exactly know how they get water or what they exactly drink. I don't think that's ever been explored. Plot hole. But yeah, it's basically the world of sand, and these people are on this island. They think they're all to themselves, until one day a girl from the outside named Lycos shows up, and the whole world gets turned upside down. They discover that they were cast out of a kingdom, and that the kingdom is going to try to eradicate them, and then the story plays on from there without getting into too many spoilers. It's an absolutely fantastic story. It's one of my favorite stories to read. Sometimes the philosophical stuff does get out of hand, and, like, I don't know what the fuck they're talking about, but overall, I think it's an absolutely fantastic read, and one of the more manga series that you can actually think about, and it has a lot of topics to try to understand, like, human condition, what's right, what's wrong, and all these things within human nature that are really, really interesting, and I really enjoy this series. It's a great read. I try to read it every time it comes out. It's one of the more unique series that are out there, and one of the series I also believe are underrated and not enough people talk about. But anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching. If you have anything you want me to talk about, put it on the comments. I'm always interested. Please tell me what volume it's in if you do have something to talk about, like the series, and what volume you think it's in, or chapter if you don't know the volume. Just whatever help you can get me, just so I don't have to, like, look through, like, 40 volumes of a series if it's a long series. But anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching, and as always, I'll see you in another video.